Catherine Ross was born into a world that was already deeply connected to cinema. From a young age, she was surrounded by the energy of Hollywood, where dreams were made and broken every day. But her early life was not a simple path toward fame. She grew up moving between different places, adjusting to changing environments, and learning how to adapt quickly. This constant movement helped shape her personality and gave her a quiet strength that would later show in her acting. She was not someone who rushed into fame, but instead someone who slowly built her way into it with patience and focus. As a young student, she became interested in storytelling and performance. She first explored acting in college, where she joined theater programs and began learning how to perform on stage. This was the beginning of her connection with acting, and it quickly became clear that she had natural talent. She was not loud or overly dramatic, but she had a calm presence that made people notice her. Her early training helped her understand emotions deeply, and she learned how to express feelings in subtle but powerful ways. During this time, Hollywood was changing, and new types of films were being created that focused more on real emotions and human struggles. Catherine Ross fit perfectly into this new wave of storytelling. She was not just chasing fame, she was learning a craft. This foundation would later help her become one of the most memorable actresses of her generation, known for roles that felt real, emotional, and deeply human. Catherine Ross's life changed completely when she entered Hollywood professionally. After small roles in television and minor film appearances, she finally got the opportunity that would define her career. Her breakthrough came with the film The Graduate, where she played Elaine Robinson. This role was a turning point not only for her, but also for American cinema at the time. The film itself became a cultural landmark, reflecting the confusion and emotional struggles of a generation. Catherine Ross stood out in the film because of her quiet and natural acting style. She did not try to overpower the screen. Instead, she brought a sense of realism that made her character feel alive and relatable. Her performance was widely praised, and she quickly became recognized as one of the most promising actresses in Hollywood. This success opened the door to more major roles, including Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, where she starred alongside some of the biggest names in the industry. These films made her a well-known figure, and she became part of Hollywood's golden era of storytelling. However, fame also brought pressure. Being in the spotlight meant that every role she took was closely watched and judged. Despite this, she continued to choose roles that had emotional depth rather than simple commercial appeal. Her career was built on quality, not just popularity. She became known for playing characters who had inner strength and emotional complexity, which made her stand out from many other actresses of her time as Catherine Ross's career continued. She took on a variety of roles that showed her range as an actress. She did not limit herself to one type of character or story. Instead, she explored different emotions and themes, often choosing roles that dealt with deeper human issues. Films like The Stepford Wives showed her ability to portray tension, fear, and psychological depth. These performances helped establish her as an actress who could handle complex material with ease. However, behind her successful career, her personal life was not always smooth. Like many people in Hollywood, she experienced relationships that were difficult to maintain under public attention and busy schedules. She was married several times throughout her life, and each relationship brought both happiness and challenges. The pressure of fame, combined with personal expectations, often created distance in her private life. Even though she appeared calm and composed in public, her personal journey included emotional ups and downs that shaped her as a person. Over time, she began to value privacy more than public attention. While her career remained important, she started focusing more on her personal peace and emotional stability. This shift would later influence the choices she made in both her professional and personal life. Instead of chasing constant fame, she became more selective, choosing projects that felt meaningful rather than overwhelming. One of the most important parts of Catherine Ross's life was her marriage to actor Sam Elliott. Their relationship began in the late 1970s after they met while working in the film industry. Unlike many Hollywood relationships, theirs developed slowly and was built on mutual respect and shared understanding of the acting world. They eventually married in 1984, and their relationship became one of the more stable partnerships in Hollywood. Around the same time, they welcomed their daughter, Cleo Rose Elliott. For Catherine Ross, Motherhood became a deeply important part of her life. She often tried to balance her acting career with raising her child in a more private and grounded environment. She wanted her daughter to have a normal upbringing, away from the intense pressure of Hollywood fame. However, growing up as a child of two well-known actors was never completely normal. Cleo eventually developed her own identity and chose a career in music rather than acting. While this allowed her independence, it also came with emotional challenges, as she had to navigate life under the shadow of famous parents. Like many families, their relationship had both loving and difficult moments. Over time, small disagreements and emotional tension reportedly became part of their private life. These issues were not widely known at first, as the family valued privacy. But as Cleo grew older, the emotional distance between mother and daughter became more noticeable. Despite these struggles, the family remained connected through shared history and long-term bonds. Even when communication became strained in 2010, a serious family incident involving Catherine Ross and her daughter Cleo Rose Elliott became public and drew media attention. Reports stated that during an argument, Cleo became physically aggressive and attacked her mother with scissors, causing injury to her arm. The situation was quickly brought under control, and it did not escalate further, but it had a lasting emotional impact on the family. Following the incident, Catherine Ross took legal steps to protect herself, including filing for a restraining order. This decision was not easy for her, as it involved her own daughter, but it was made in the interest of safety. The court granted the order, requiring Cleo to maintain distance and avoid contact. This event shocked many people because it revealed a deeply personal and painful side of family that had been known publicly for their success and fame. It showed that even families who appear strong and respected can face serious emotional and personal struggles behind closed doors. The media coverage around the incident was intense, but the family itself chose not to share detailed public statements. As a result, much of what happened emotionally within the family remains private. What is known is that the incident created a significant emotional distance between mother and daughter. It also forced Catherine Ross to confront a very difficult personal situation while already living in the public eye. For many observers, it became a reminder that fame does not protect anyone from personal hardship. Instead, it often makes private struggles even more difficult to deal with. After the incident, Catherine Ross gradually stepped back from the intensity of Hollywood life. While she never fully left acting, she became more selective about her work and focused on roles that matched her pace and comfort. Her long marriage to Sam Elliott remained a strong source of support and stability during this period. Together, they built a quieter life away from constant public attention. Over time, she also explored other creative outlets, including writing and smaller artistic projects. These activities allowed her to stay connected to storytelling without the pressure of major film productions. Her focus shifted from fame to peace, and from public recognition to personal fulfillment. Her daughter's relationship with her remained private, and neither of them publicly discussed the details of their reconciliation or current emotional status. This silence suggested that their family healing process, if ongoing, was kept away from public view. Today, Catherine Ross is remembered as one of the iconic actresses of her generation. Her work in films like The Graduate continues to influence cinema and inspire new actors. She represents a time in Hollywood when storytelling focused more on emotional truth and character depth. Her legacy is not only defined by her famous roles, but also by her long and complex personal journey. She remains a respected figure in film history, known for her elegance, quiet strength, and ability to bring emotional realism to her characters. Her life story reflects both the beauty and difficulty of living in the spotlight, where success often comes with personal challenges that are not always visible to the public. Even after decades in Hollywood, Catherine Ross never became the kind of celebrity defined only by fame or headlines. Instead, her life reflects something more human, the quiet reality that success and struggle often exist side by side. While the world remembers her most for iconic films and unforgettable performances, her personal journey shows a different side of Hollywood that is rarely seen on screen. It is a world where private emotions, family relationships, and personal challenges continue long after the cameras stop rolling. As time moved forward, she gradually stepped away from the fast pace of the industry, choosing a slower and more peaceful life. Acting was no longer about constant visibility, but about meaningful moments and selective choices. Through it all, her long marriage to Sam Elliott remained a steady presence, offering stability in a world that often changes quickly. Their relationship became one of the quiet constants in her life, far away from public noise and attention. At the same time, her relationship with her daughter remained private, shaped by distance, time, and circumstances that were never fully explained to the public. What remains clear is that their story, like many families, is not defined by a single moment, but by years of complexity, emotion, and change. Today, Catherine Ross stands as a reminder that behind every famous face is a real person living a real life, one that includes both achievement and difficulty. Her legacy is not just about the roles she played, but also about the way she carried herself through decades of public attention while protecting her private world. And in the end, her story is not just about Hollywood success, but about the quiet strength it takes to live a life under its shadow. When we look back at the life of Catherine Ross, what stands out is not just her success, but the contrast between public image and private reality. To the world, she was part of some of Hollywood's most memorable films, a face that represented a powerful era of cinema where storytelling felt real, emotional, and lasting. But beyond the screen, her life followed a much quieter and more complicated path. Like many people who live under public attention, she experienced moments of joy, pressure, love, and difficulty that were never fully visible to audiences. Her journey shows that fame does not simplify life. It often makes it more complex. Even in her most successful years, she chose roles that reflected emotional truth rather than superficial glamour. And this same depth seemed to define her personal life as well. Over time, she stepped back from constant public attention, not as an escape, but as a choice toward peace and stability. Her long marriage to Sam Elliott became a grounding force, helping her maintain balance in a world that often moves too fast. At the same time, her relationship with her daughter remained private and deeply personal, shaped by experiences that were never fully explained in public detail. What makes her story meaningful is not any single event, but the way it reflects a universal truth, that even people admired by millions still face the same emotional struggles as anyone else. In the end, her life is a reminder that behind every famous name, there is a human story filled with both strength and vulnerability, and that true legacy is not only built on fame, but also on resilience, choices, and the ability to continue moving forward despite life's most difficult moments. In the end, the story of Catherine Ross is not just about Hollywood success or the films that made her famous, but about the quiet reality of a life lived under both admiration and pressure. While audiences remember her for iconic performances that helped define an era of cinema, her personal journey reminds us that fame never exists in isolation from real human experience. Every moment of recognition comes with unseen weight, and every life lived in the spotlight carries both beauty and burden. Over the years, she moved through different stages of life, from rising actress to established star, from public figure to someone who gradually chose privacy and peace over constant attention. Her long marriage to Sam Elliott remained one of the most stable parts of her world, offering quiet strength in a profession often defined by instability. At the same time, her role as a mother remained deeply personal, shaped by love, challenges, and experiences that were never fully explained to the public. The widely reported family incident in 2010 became one of the most difficult moments associated with her name, but even that single event cannot define an entire lifetime of relationships, choices, and emotions. Instead, her story should be understood as a full human journey, one that includes achievement, struggle, distance, and reflection. As time moves forward, what remains most powerful is not the controversy or the headlines, but the legacy of her work and the reminder that behind every public figure is a private life that is far more complex than what the world ever sees. And perhaps that is the final truth her story leaves behind. Fame may preserve a name in history, but it is the quiet human experiences behind it that truly define a life. If you want next step, I can turn this into a perfect 10 out of 10 viral script with ultra-strong hooks every 15 seconds or build a full YouTube automation package. Script plus titles plus thumbnails plus SEO plus voiceover cues. Next paragraph. There isn't a true next paragraph left that adds new information without repeating the ending, but I can give you one final ultra-closing paragraph that works like a documentary outro and wraps everything cleanly. Clapperboard ultimate final outro paragraph. 300 to 400 word style voiceover. Looking back at the full journey of Catherine Ross, it becomes clear that her life represents something far deeper than fame alone. She is part of a generation of actors who helped shape modern cinema, bringing emotion, realism, and quiet intensity to roles that still remain powerful today. But beyond the screen, her story also reflects the reality that even the most admired public figures live lives filled with personal challenges that the audience never fully sees. Her rise in Hollywood was marked by talent and timing, but her long-term journey was shaped just as much by personal choices, relationships, and a desire for peace. Her marriage to Sam Elliott became one of the most stable parts of her life, offering continuity in an industry known for change and uncertainty. At the same time, her role as a mother remained one of the most important and sensitive parts of her identity, carrying both love and complexity that unfolded away from the public eye. The incident involving her daughter in 2010 brought attention to a deeply private family struggle, reminding the public that behind even the most respected names are real emotional experiences that cannot be fully understood from the outside. As years passed, she chose a quieter path, focusing less on visibility and more on personal balance and meaningful work. Today, her legacy is not defined by any single moment, but by the full span of her life. Her achievements, her resilience, and her ability to continue forward despite both success and hardship. In the end, her story stands as a reminder that Hollywood fame may create